Introduce yourself.
Happy New Year, everyone. For sure, it's going to be a better year this year than it was last year. And also, we'll adapt easier, hopefully. And we've learned how to do things like, being quarantined is a wonderful time for introspection and memory review. And I brought an old poem. It's a poem I was writing in the throes of my divorce, and so go on, you'll see why. If you last that long, it's a long poem. It's about Actaeon.
How long was the marriage?
It was so many years, and then we got together again. But anyway, Actaeon is a fable in Ovid's Metamorphoses, and I've read it before in Beacon, and I also did it at the Joneses' farm. And here was the flyer. You see Actaeon?
Show the camera.
Oh, show the camera? All right. What's so wonderful about this Actaeon is you can actually see that Diana is pubescent. Generally, they don't show them as young children. And here's the bigger picture. And this was just on the brink of Rubenesque woman, the start of the Baroque period. But that's not in the poem, but I just thought. The fellow who did it is Giuseppe Cesari, and he did it around, 1501, I think. And also, Caravaggio. His first job was in the Roman gallery of Caesarea, before poor Caravaggio started to get into trouble and used too much white lead paint, poor thing. Somewhere between a poem and a fable, while squeezing oranges. Was it your eyes that made you do it, Actaeon? Were your eyes that gorgeous extension of yourself that made you do whatever it was that the gods forbade? I'm squeezing oranges, making juice, and in the process thinking of you, Actaeon. Temples are being squashed. How good-looking you must have been. Actaeon, not an ancient, but a classic hunter, handsome and heroic. Did you boast? You were the world's best shot, better than any god. Did this myth Diana, moon maiden, huntress of heaven, an earth virgin? You, better with a bow than any Cupid. Did your proud boast, your hubris, cause her to burst, your haunting balloon, cause your metamorphic plummeting? Was it your eyes, or your pride, or something in her head, or between your legs? If I had been there, would I have had the courage before your fall to gouge your eyes out or castrate you? How much fatal pain early dismemberment would have saved you? Or would I have been compelled out of compassion to tell your tragedy repeatedly, as did my cousin Ovid? With the juice pressing, I watch the pulp sink in the glass. The pits float. Should I take them out now or wait until your story of mine surfaces? Ovid claimed she didn't see you chasing after her with her ebony quiver, silver javelin, cedar bow across her breast, dashing across the spring sun-bright, fresh green fields. You pursued her in the middle of a sacred grove, there in a secret pool. She plunged in awe you watched, her nakedness undulating. She'd caught you eyeing what mortals should not see. She cast her fatal spell. I squeeze another orange, temple oranges, of course, and reflect on this possibility. Isn't this a misogynist interpretation? Was it the absolute God truth that you shared her and plunged in like a macho buck, knowing instinctively what it was that you were after? In self-defense, Diana changed you into the horny animal that you were. Stag, you staggered on. Not even your hounds recognized you. They mauled you till you moaned your last. I'm on my third orange, and I ponder beyond this, that which sounds like an altogether new neo-feminist interpretation. Could it have been really she, unbeknownst to you, who watched you when you came down sweaty from an upland April snaring of bears? She followed you across morning dew, April cool fields, hot in pursuit. Yes, it was not hunting season, autumn. It was spring, when the earth yields her freshness, and the birds begin to sing anew, when the bees buzz, awakening, and rushing streams crash, bubbling, tingling. You, Actaeon, only wearing winter stubble, disrobed bare in your unawareness. When you plunged in a glen pool, Diana came on you, and you floored, speechless. How dumb you were, you called out Venus, thinking she was the goddess of love, not knowing the state of affairs in the layers of heaven above. There was enmity between these two elevated beings. In a fit of deital jealousy, Diana changed you, as the story tells. Your antlers were marvelous. There are 3 pits in the glass. Now I take out 2 and leave the third wondering about a purer interpretation of the myth. Why not a new fairy tale? You both were young, spring ripe, ready for love. She lost her virginity and you shed your animal inclination. A classic and equitable trade-off. Your souls mated, elevated in Olympian heaven above. The 2 of you lived happily ever after. Well, I'm done with my squeezing now and happy with this love-soppy ending. There are a million stories in a myth, and all of them are true. So too, metaphors are magic, unlocking treasures in the soul. Did I plagiarize this, or find it stamped on an orange? Admittedly, Actaeon, I'm uneasy with my mythic convolutions of your life. While I want love to win or lose triumphantly, I know this is a fairy tale, for I have witnessed love can be more a hell than hate, and hate more a grudging than a state to shun, and then when there is boredom in between the 2 extremes, well, boredom can be hell. Hear my confession. I find it hard to live with ambiguities, uncertainties, inconsistencies, variegated verities. I prefer intense extremes, love and hate, black and white, heaven and hell, God and the devil. These fit best bifurcated between the reptile left and right hemisphere of my ancient brain. The golden mean eludes me. I was raised a Catholic. I do not believe in myths. I used to pay allegiance to the Pope. Now I pontificate alone in poems. As a child, I was told to pray for my enemies. I was given a silhouetted card of a communist and told to say rosaries for him. Many beads, and years later, I wonder if I had the luck to pray for Gorbachev. I should have prayed for Bush. Even today, I still have trouble envisioning my enemies. They appear as shadow silhouettes. A fecundity of fears fills the void inside me. Sometimes I think I am gone mad. I miss old rituals and in their place go to myths. Sinner that I am, I question, should I take up again with one God? I find it easier to play with myths than to pray and accept my faith, and to work to shape the disarray of my destiny. Look at the pith and piths with these juice ruminations, as sticky as my hands are wet with orange juice. I'll wash them now and tell the real truth. Actaeon, I found your femur floating in the trickle of a stream. I who cannot tell the difference from a distance, being removed as I am from nature and from myth, between sticks and bones, seeds and ideas. I found your femur floating near the spot where you had gone to die. That was in the fall, after your fall. I had gone chasing the great orange disk in the sky, the sun. I watched that fiery orb in fuchsia slivers sink into the violet shade of a hidden pond. Circled by thorny brambles and rustling reeds, the pool lies within a golden field between rural Route 233 and the rushing river Oriskany. I go there frequently and reflect. That autumn eve the water seemed to whisper. In trance I sang out, "Oh, where are you, dear crepuscular creatures? Come and lap." At that you stirred. Hidden in the brambles I saw your bloody rump. Before I saw your amputated leg. Had wild dogs done this? Another hunting season horror to haunt my dreams. I cried out, oh God, why?" You, Actaeon, did not moan, but as the fable said, you raised your head and cast piteous eyes, more pitiful than any I have ever seen. At my scream, you upped and sprang to drag your mutilated trunk, leaping on 3 legs across the field. The river gave you extreme unction, and that is why, in truth, this day I am compelled to tell yours truly was a hideous end. Repeated my miseries pale at your tragedy. Is this not the power of your myth? Are we not alike in that I too am oft distracted, almost fatally, from the game? Oh, orange airy dame that I am, when will I ever stay truly focused? Take this squeezing. I've concentrated more on the pulp, the stickiness, the pits than the juice. Forgive me, Actaeon, for my sentimentality, for my classic pretensions, for my holier-than-the-hunter inhumility among my many sins, recognized and not admitted, for my commingling your myth and mine. I have not learned to hold my tongue as you have yours. Somewhere between a poem and a fable is your story and mine. Somewhere between a poem and a sublime moral tale. Your eyes made me do it. Your languid, doe, liquid brown eyes. Somewhere between a myth and a memory.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. Oh, humble.
Oh, yeah, I became a born-again pagan.
I like that.
And the best thing I got out of it was to know the myths. But I was really interested in my 4 parents at the time of Christ. I thought maybe they'd have something to tell me, but I found out we don't know. They had secret schools, and so things haven't come down. Then they probably burnt in Alexandria. So we just have to make up fables and fairy tales.
Amen.